Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider and that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Incognito from the relationship advice subreddit, and it says girlfriend female 31 is trying to convince me, male 30, into a relationship with her friend, female 29. We had a blow up this weekend over it. Should I apologize or call it quits? My girlfriend is bi and primarily dated women before we met. We're getting serious and talking about getting married. We've dated for over 2 years, but recently she's been making a lot of polygamous jokes and I'm not really into it. She has this friend that I get the feeling is just waiting for a hiccup in our relationship to make a move. She's bi and openly makes jokes about being sexual with my girlfriend. I've shared that I don't like it before, but she jokes that I'm gay for not being into it. Maybe I could be into an experience, but honestly, this person just makes me uncomfortable too often. Besides that, she's just not my type sexually. We had a long conversation around COVID about she wanted to be referred to he/him, so I did. 2 years later, he wanted to be referred to as they/them, so I did. Recently she circled around back to she/her, which is fine, but the whole time she dresses like a Kyle. For those of you that are unfamiliar, a Kyle is a kind of guy that wears Fox apparel. Washes down vape with Monster Energy drink, should be attractive, but it's like her idea of masculinity was formed from high school douchebags, not 30-year-old men. Anyway, Saturday we got into a fight because we had some friends over. Kyle was the one to leave. We'd all been drinking. I was in the kitchen putting away some food, and I see this arsehole put his hands on my girlfriend's ass. I let her know right away, that's the line. You crossed it, stop. My girlfriend gives her classic, that's just how girls joke, and goes. They did this little dance twirl thing that ended my girlfriend on Kyle's lap. I'd had enough and stepped into the room. My girlfriend doubled down and said that most guys would be dying to fool around with 2 women. I was blunt and said that I was uninterested in sharing her with anyone. Kyle then said something like, maybe I could strap one on, maybe you'd prefer a man. I was drunk. This arsehole had his hand on my girlfriend's waist and my girlfriend on her lap. I lost it. I don't remember what I said exactly. Something like, if you were a man, you would have been kicked out or knocked out already. This struck some kind of chord with her. She postured up like a gorilla and it was a 3-way shouting match. I don't know what was said exactly, but it ended with Kyle loudly proclaiming that she had to leave before someone got hurt. Here's the problem. My girlfriend somehow thinks I need to apologize. Me for threatening a person who came into my home, grabbed my girlfriend's ass, sat down on her lap, and insinuated that I'd like to be ass-fucked by a man. She says that I needlessly introduced violence and forced Kyle to drive home intoxicated. I honestly can't fathom an apology. And I honestly don't care to have Kyle in our life anymore. I'm not typically the one to die on a hill, but I feel like anything short of digging my heels in is unacceptable. I told her I'd think about it. She's staying at a cousin's house for a few days. If it was just one night, I'd get it, but it's been several. Saturday was just the tipping point. But honestly, she acts like this is something she can just get out of her system. I think she wants to be bi, and I think a lot of her friends are doing the poly thing. It's just not for me. I want one partnership with one person. All of her poly friends are in relationships, but they come and go. There's nothing concrete there. She claims to want kids. She claims to want commitment, but her actions say otherwise. Edit. She claims she's coming by to pick things up for work. I feel like a conversation is unavoidable. I've taken what I want out of the competent suggestions here and applied the relevant context into the talking points I want to hit. I maybe update tomorrow or whenever I feel better. I don't know if this post was a good or bad idea. I won't reply until I feel like it. I have a big band-aid to rip off. Absolutely not. I'm not sure I'd want to be in that relationship full stop, to be quite honest. I mean, there was just so many lines crossed that, it's just wild. Kyle repeatedly making you uncomfortable with the sexual jokes. Kyle physically grabbing your girlfriend's rear end in your home, and then your girlfriend minimizing everything about, that's just how girls joke. And then the both of them trying to pressure you into a sexual situation that you're just not interested in. And it's not about being anti-poly or close-minded or anything like that. It's just basic respect and boundaries in a relationship. And the fact that she's trying to gaslight you into being the bad guy in this situation is just, it takes the piss. But Mango says in quotes, I've shared that I don't like it before, but she jokes that I'm gay for not being into it. And then says, this is shaming tactics. If you know you're not into something and you've already told people around you, yet they still try to get you into it, you need to remove them from your life because now they're being disrespectful to your boundaries. Opie says, that's what I'm saying, but they've been friends longer than I've been together with her. She writes it off as, that's just a long-running joke. Opie replies to another one and says, what blows is that in almost every other way, we click. Similar interests, similar political beliefs, similar morals. We're both career-driven and stable. Our sex life is also very good. We both pay attention to each other's needs. But her poly friends have her believing that she can be a stay-at-home mum and sleep around when she feels like it. Apostle of Moon says, let's be real here, dude. She consistently, repeatedly does not show any regard for your thoughts, feelings, or boundaries. When prompted, she has done nothing to change an act that she is aware bothers you. If anything, she has increased her participation in that poor behavior. She doesn't seem to care about you when it counts. Ergo, she is far, far, far from 95%. I hope you find someone who gives a rip about you and your feelings, because she does not. And with a friend like this Kyle person, without significant foundational change, I don't see how you can trust her again, because it's clear that she doesn't see a problem with how her friends treat her, and she doesn't care if you do. Good luck. So, at some point later, Opie comes in with their first update and says, I'm just going to go off the bullet points of the conversation because I'm over it. She arrived yesterday with a peace offering from our favorite ice cream shop and wanted to set things aside so we could settle down and catch up on the new episode of HOTD. Had to Google that and said House of the Dragon. I told her that I was uncomfortable just eating ice cream and watching TV with the elephant in the room. I think that she could sense that I was in a different mood than she expected. The talking points were as follows. I mentioned that I felt no need to apologize and referenced that Kyle had never apologized for disrespecting me in my home on other occasions, and that the average person would display hostility towards someone who acted the way Kyle acted. Her response was that she felt it was a first-time offense and that she had no idea I felt so strongly towards the jokes in the past. I cut her off and told her that she wasn't listening to me if that's how she felt. She stated that I introduced violence, and that's what I should be apologizing for. I stood my ground and said that any person who touches another person's spouse sexually in front of them without their consent should understand that they're going to provoke a reaction. Given that I actually have boxing experience, I showed restraint. She made this weird point that because I have boxing experience, I should somehow be more careful about provoking violent situations because I know that a fight between Kyle and I is a mismatch, which I easily countered with the fact that I didn't provoke the situation. Kyle did, and my girlfriend not seeing that is a problem. She mentioned that it was reckless for me to kick out an intoxicated guest. I easily retorted with, Uber fucking exists. There's no reason to drunk drive in 2024. If she dies in a DUI, it's because she was too cheap and stupid to pay the $15 to get a ride there. I'd looked it up yesterday. Her stupidity is not my responsibility. I asked her if she'd slept with Kyle in the past. She said no. Maybe I'm biased and not to be trusted, but I believe her. I told her that it makes me super uncomfortable that she keeps pressuring me into having sex with someone I'm unattracted to. This is compounded by the fact that I've had to jump through hoops to make sure that Kyle was comfortable with her sexuality over the years. This is the curveball I didn't expect. She claimed that Kyle actually likes me for that reason, that Kyle shows her affection like a schoolyard idiot, that Kyle feels comfortable with the both of us. My girlfriend feels comfortable with Kyle, so their intention was to gauge my comfort level and proceed. Obviously, I brought up that I wasn't sexually attracted to Kyle in any way, and that she hadn't helped her cause by treating me the way she has that night or the nights prior. My girlfriend reinstated that she was unaware that my feelings before were as strong as they are because I didn't display emphasis or something. Essentially, she thought I shrugged it off in good humor. I stated that I'd like to start talking about what a breakup looks like. She was obviously so far from the idea that we were talking about a breakup. Immediate waterworks, immediately incoherent and apologetic. I brought up that I'm unsure if she actually believes in our shared goals of marriage, parenthood, and monogamy. She was in hysterics but essentially couldn't believe that I would come to that conclusion based off one night. I I reminded her that it was a pattern of behavior, not one night. She then backpedaled and said that a polygamous behavior was part of her life she wanted to share with me before we were married, and she believed that she was presenting it in a way that she thought would be appealing to me. I think she thinks I have a porn brain, but I reminded her that I showed a lack of interest before, and that in my opinion, this wasn't the first time she pitched fooling around with Kyle. She circled back to insisting the other times were jokes. I told her that if she believes that, she either wasn't listening to me or not taking me seriously. I brought up that it wasn't okay that they called me gay because I didn't want to engage with their ideas. I brought up the hypocritical nature of her friend being so inclusive, but making fun of my sexuality when I didn't want to participate in their games. She was hyper-apologetic and didn't understand that it was a problem until I framed it in a, had the shoe been on the other foot, it would never be acceptable. What do you all think? Stay or nay? And we have another update in a moment, but Big Fat Happy Baby says run. She is the kind that only regrets her actions when the consequences hit her in the face. Another commenter says she's the type of girl that is gaslighting OP, and since he doesn't want a poly relationship, she will start cheating on him if she hasn't already. She seems like the type of girl that doesn't see having sex with other girls while in a relationship as cheating, just because the sex was with another woman and not a guy. OP should get tested for STDs ASAP and not waste more years of his life with someone that doesn't respect his boundaries. Blood Rose says, the old but it's a girl, it doesn't count routine that so many bisexual women have been trying to peddle for decades. It was bullshit then and it's bullshit now. Cheating is what it is, regardless of gender. 2 weeks later after that, OP comes in with another update and says, I male 30 broke up with my girlfriend female 31 and now she won't move out till the school year starts. Do any of you have experience evicting an ex? It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I did it. I broke up with my girlfriend after she tried to throuple me with her friend. Initially, she was happy to move into her cousin's house, but there's been some drama because the story she tells her friends and family leaves out key components. Some of them reached out angrily to me when I set them straight, then gave my ex an earful. Now she's mad at me for disclosing sensitive information. I'm guessing that her cousin isn't allowing her back because she doesn't agree with her decisions. I don't know for sure because we're not in contact. I only know what my ex says and she's unreliable. She's become hot and cold, either bitter and cold shoulder or bringing up reconciling and coming on to me. I've made a point to resist her advances. She's been trying to guilt me. A few months ago, she made the decision to go after a master's degree. She was supposed to be starting very soon, but now I've compromised her living situation. She's upset that rent everywhere else is double what she contributes here. I tell her that that's no longer my problem. I guess she has a subscription service that has delivered here. She produced that last night when I told her I needed her completely out by the 15th. Now she's saying she has a right to be here. Does anyone have any experience evicting an ex? And 7 months after this one, OP posts another post, which is kind of like an update, sort of like moving on with life kind of thing by the looks of it. It says, a woman, 34 female, that I, male 31, have been seeing has an OnlyFans. Can a relationship realistically be salvaged? I got out of a nasty breakup a little under a year ago. I avoided the dating sites but ended up meeting this lady through mutual friends. She ticks all of the boxes. She seems very kind. She's stable financially and emotionally. She's very funny, we have great chemistry, and the physical relationship is great. But like 15% of her income comes from a small OnlyFans account, which is fine. The content supposedly is just photos of her, solo work. Now she's talking about becoming exclusive. I'm only realistically talking to one other person, and that relationship hasn't become physical yet. But I'm ready for marriage, kids. I want to settle down. And in my opinion, a woman with an OnlyFans isn't looking to settle down. She disagrees. We got into a big argument over it. What she heard was, "You're not wife material," which isn't entirely true. She totally is, without the OnlyFans account. She has a good job. Her account is small enough that it wouldn't affect her finances too much, especially if we moved in sometime within the next 2 years. I made my boundaries clear, but she keeps calling, texting, insisting that I'm the only guy that she's seeing. I know OnlyFans isn't prostitution, but it is sex work. Plus, her account brings in less than a part-time job at McDonald's. I feel like it's not unreasonable to have a problem with strangers looking at sexual photos of a person you want to pursue a serious relationship with. Have any of you made a relationship work with a sex worker? Taffy Bunny said on the back of this one, you said that in your opinion a woman with an OnlyFans isn't ready to settle down. She's telling you that your opinion about her readiness is incorrect. Since you are still pushing back, that particular opinion is no longer the issue. Clearly there is some other reason you have a problem with it, so take some time to identify it and accept that you might not be compatible. Oshi Jones says, just break up. I don't see anything wrong with a married person having an OnlyFans account, but you do. So you're not compatible. Your solution is to hold the wife material thing over her head, which is a rather twattish thing to do. So break up. And that is currently where OP is in his timeline right now. Whew. OP's been in some relationships in this small amount of time, but what do you guys make of this situation? What about the last question OP was asking? How would you feel about it? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, our next story was cross-posted to our subreddit r/Mark Narrations from Slight Test 3161. And it originally came from the Would I Be the A-hole subreddit from 12. It says, would I be the arsehole for breaking up with my boyfriend over socks? My boyfriend 20 and I 20 have been dating for almost 3 years now. I love him dearly. He's sweet and funny, but he always antagonizes me. I have OCD, only recently diagnosed with it, and I get very overwhelmed with germs. I get overwhelmed by dirty dishes and dirty laundry stacking up, which happens often. I tend to clean most of it since he's working and I'm not, though I am in school and he isn't. I also can't touch the ground without wearing socks. I don't sleep in socks or shower with them on, but if I touch the bare ground without socks on, I feel dirty and overwhelmed. The exception being when I know I'm about to shower in less than an hour. When I say he antagonizes me, what I mean is that he will throw my clean outfit for the next day on the floor when mad at me, knowing that I won't be able to wear it. Or if we're arguing, he will call me crazy for needing to place socks next to the toilet before I shower. Sometimes he will call me stupid instead of elaborating when I ask questions of him. I know I'm not painting him in a flattering light right now. I do love him a lot, but I have a bad memory when I'm upset, and I tend to forget the good moments. Anyway, we were taking a shower together. I was talking about Howl's Moving Castle when he suddenly yelled, "Shut up!" which made me quiet for the rest of the shower. I was probably rambling for way too long like I always do, but I was upset because he yelled at me instead of asking me to stop. He got out of the shower first, which I prefer that he does get out first because I take longer to dry myself, and he turned off the light on purpose. I know it was on purpose because he kept opening the door and standing there to check if I was going to get out and turn the light on. So I did. Pissed off because I would have to rewash my feet. I turned it on and then he turned it off again. So I splashed water on him. I know that's a bad reaction, but he laughed, so I thought it was okay. Instead of turning the light off again, he took the towel and my socks away from the shower. Again, I got out the shower and took my socks and towel back before saying that I want to break up with him. Earlier in the shower, I specifically thought, if he takes my socks away at all, I'm breaking up with him. So, would I be the arsehole for breaking up with my boyfriend over socks? Am I overreacting, or is this reasonable? As with a lot of stories that we cover, when you read a title and you sing, "Am I the arsehole for breaking up over socks?" Let's face it, it's not about the socks. It's about him deliberately targeting your OCD to upset you during arguments. Taking away your socks, knowing it triggers you, isn't a joke or a minor annoyance. It's cruel, it's abusive, and the fact that you was thinking this, if he takes my socks, I'm breaking up, during your shower, it just says it all to me. That you know this relationship has just become shit for your mental well-being. Telling you to shut up when you're talking about something that you love. You deserve so much better than that. You deserve someone who's not going to throw your clothes on the floor to upset you, someone who will listen to you when you're talking about someone that you love, and someone who will respect the accommodations you need for your OCD. It's not about being too sensitive, and you simply deserve much better than that. But Cusby says your boyfriend wasn't joking or teasing. He was being abusive. You shouldn't be with someone who torments you for his amusement. That's what he's doing when he throws your clothes on the floor or steals your socks. He knows the psychological impact of his actions. He also knows it's wrong. Mikey says you wouldn't be breaking up with him over socks. You'd be breaking up with him over his refusal to respect you and your boundaries and unwillingness to learn and accommodate your disorder. Eeyore's Piglet says, I'm with you. I can't touch floors with my bare feet either. I get the heebie-jeebies. I feel disgusting, wretched. He might as well have opened up 13 portals of hell surrounding me and dared me to find ice because my feet feel that vulnerable and gross. I get it, and I want to break up with him too. I have to have sandals. I can't stand socks. The seams drive me just as batshit crazy, and they're feet jails. So I live in flip-flops 365 days a year. Try those. Dirty Nerdy says you would not be the arsehole. Sometimes we're in love with people who aren't good for us. This doesn't sound like a life-interfering tic, but rather a simple routine that helps you feel calm and able to go about your day. And he constantly looks for ways to interrupt it, to punish you, to weaponize your diagnosis against you. Honestly, it breaks my heart that he yelled at you to shut up when you were talking about Howl's Moving Castle, because there's nothing worse than really enjoying or being into something, and the person you love making you feel lesser for your interests. And one final comment from Little Loki 918 who says no. As some have noted, this has nothing to do with your OCD and everything to do with your boyfriend being an arsehole. He doesn't respect you, and frankly, I question whether he even likes you. It is never acceptable to throw anything during an argument, especially not your partner's stuff. It is never acceptable to scream, "Shut up" at your partner, especially not when you're showering together. It is never acceptable to turn the lights off on your partner, especially when they're in the shower and getting ready to exit. None of that is okay, and you don't deserve to be treated that way. Dump him. You don't deserve to be treated like this. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What would you do in that situation? What are your thoughts on it? It was interesting to read people's comments on this, and the same people that can relate to OP about socks and OCD and how it triggers them. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day.